Because of the Israeli military campaign against Hamas, the terroristic organization that on October 7, 2023 launched an attack on Israel, killing and taking hostages among the civilians, a series of pro-Palestine and pro-Kremlin manifestations take place in the United States, Europe and Italy. Hi, my name is Dmitry Dorogov. I'm a Russian dissident and political refugee in Verona, Italy. Let's dive in together and see what and who is behind these manifestations. March 14, 2024. The big friends of Putin, both Italians and Arabs, are protesting side by side in Verona.
The problem with the Muslims is that they are an imperial people with an imperial religion. So much so that Adolf Hitler, indicated that he was sorry he didn't know about Islam when he got started with his political agitation, because he felt Islam was the best religion for conquering the world and slaughtering opponents.
Besides anti-Semitic and pro-Palestine statements, the protesters are calling for negotiations between Kremlin and Ukraine invaded by Russia. One can observe many pro-Palestine flags and banners. However, I have not seen any people supporting Israel last year when it was brutally attacked by Islamist terrorists of Hamas. From the times of Mussolini, Italy still remains a highly anti-Semitic country. Hordes of Arabs, absolutely shocking anti-Semitism, and no Jewish people.
So you have now what we call a black-green alliance. The black being traditional anti-Semites, fascists, if you will, with the green, which is now the Islamists, and a third element adding into that, red. It's a black-green-red alliance. Red being the progressives. I wouldn't even call them communists. They're they don't even know what that means. They're progressives. So you have fascists with traditional anti-Semitism. You have the green representing this Islamic movement. And then you have the reds, which are really the Western progressives that are completely blind to reality and to history.
The International Anti-Semitic Alliance, the black, fascists, the green, Islam, and the red, progressives and other socialists. So let's have a good look inside this alliance. To begin with, fascists and communists, the black and the red, what do they have in common?
The socialist ideology is absolutely intolerant, and the socialism always ends in fascism. For many years, they tried to throw dust in our eyes by telling that fascism is an extreme right-wing imperialistic. No way. Fascism is a left-wing socialistic corporate movement, and it came from the same roots, the kingdom of fairness, the kingdom of equality. That's the point. So here they are with their socialism. In fact, they are now fascists, because what they preach leads to the destruction of entire peoples, culture and civilizations.
Fascism is not right-wing, it's a left-wing socialistic movement, just as communism, progressivism and other socialism.
From the cultural point of view, Arabs have two features that we Western people don't understand. The first feature is collective way of thinking. Call it tribal, call it kindred.
Bingo! Just as the fascists, Islam Arabs have the collective way of thinking that is 100% fascist mentality. That's the point.
Being Israelis who grew up in the Israeli society, which is democratic, which is modern, which is individualistic, which is secular in most parts, how to analyze another society which is much more religious, much more tribal, much more traditional, and thinks in a totally different way from ours. But in the Arab world, the person, the individual is nothing. The tribe, or the sect, or the religion, or the ethnic group, Arabs versus Kurds, for example, is the important.
Well, let's focus.
In other words, it's their brothers in thought, let's say the Middle East fascists, Islamists, longing to destroy the only Jewish state in the world. From the communism and the state-planned economic system that failed and proved itself ineffective, being the primary cause of the fall of the Soviet Union, during the last 3 decades, the socialism in Russia has evolved from communism into its black brother, fascism, with both state and private ownership. Russian fascism, similar, although not 100% identical, to the Italian fascism of Mussolini. Benito Mussolini, that created the first Italian secret services, fascist Ovra, literally a mere copy of the Soviet Cheka of Stalin, so that both Russian and Italian state secret services, known as Chekists, and have the one and the same ancestor. Moreover, the Italian Communist Party was financed by Kremlin and KGB, with the Italian state secret services always being a mere branch office of the Russian KGB. They call it convergence worldwide. Both were renamed later, but with no illustrations, not a single purge. Today, they became self-proclaimed new aristocracy. It's just the one and the same mafia that controls everything. Every mafia has its symbol, and theirs is 7, used either openly or in form of a riddle. One of their centers is located in Verona and surroundings, where I live now.
With equal section, the mighty KGB has been accomplished. Let's Prime Minister of Italy, Romano Prodi, and John Chancellor, Gerhard Schröder, Antonio Falico, Matteo Salvini, and even the Pope, Neville Pope, all of them are promoting the interests of the Putin's KGB mafia in Italy.
This brilliant young lad, Yegor Zhukov, had divined the fascist essence of the Russian regime and made a great video on YouTube in 2019. Sentenced to 3 years because of that, he was lucky enough to have had the suspended sentence with no jail. Nevertheless, the merciless fascist Russian regime has ruined his life. No more career, no more perspectives, but also no more fear.
Some people even compare Russia with totalitarian Germany. And that's very funny. You know, even a fool understands that the Russian state has nothing to do with Nazism, but it has a lot to do with fascism instead.
33 years from communism, Russia is now a fascist state. The second manifestation takes place right after the first one is finished. The whole thing is a mere play that is used for legitimating the abolishment of the EU sanctions imposed against the Russian government because of the war in Ukraine. Just show me who your friends are and I tell you who you are.
Under fascism, there is a mixed economic system, that is, there are both state and private ownership, no freedom of speech nor other liberties. Of course, on this point, today China is fascist in the original scientific sense of the word, just as it was understood in the 1930s. Such a state as China, perfectly sole ideology and thought and marching in one formation, but for the first time since the time of Comrade Deng Xiaoping, a mixed form of ownership was allowed. The results, as one can see, are absolutely outstanding.
Just as Russia, although much more successfully, China has evolved from the communism into the pure fascism by artfully implementing the native fascist corporative economic system that allows both state and private ownership. From the Soviet times, the situation has changed to the diametrically opposite. Now it's China, the big brother, leaving its younger brother, Russia, far behind.
Bene, noi abbiamo creato questo evento e quando abbiamo creato questo evento ci siamo posti il problema di cosa scrivere nella locandina.
A very simple phenomenon occurred. As you know, at the beginning of the 20th century, the socialist movement split into two parts, the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks. The first ones believed that socialism should be introduced radically, by means of revolution and violence, and all of a sudden, while others believed that it should be introduced gradually, step by step, slowly and by means of reforms to avoid unwanted effects and violence. So the Bolsheviks won in the East, and the Mensheviks won in the West, and the fact that they won there was not understood by many people in Soviet conditions, and I found this out after 2 years of my living in the West. My first reaction as a normal person, brought up in Soviet conditions and who read the newspaper Pravda, was an attempt to find those reactionary circles always mentioned in the newspaper Pravda. The reactionary and imperialistic anti-Soviet circles. Well, I thought that I should find them immediately, and they would be my best friends. For 2 years I was looking for them, and I did not find them. I am still looking for them to this day. They simply do not exist. At the same time, the so-called forces of peace, progress and socialism, regularly mentioned in the newspaper Pravda are really numerous and they dominate in the world of today. Government is of no importance to them. In the West governments come and go, but the forces of peace, progress and socialism control everything. They have all the money in the world, and we, the reactionary forces, as a rule, have no money at all.
The famous Russian dissident Vladimir Bukovsky said he didn't find any anti-Russian circles in the West. Everything is controlled by progressives and other socialists, friends of Kremlin.
Un folto gruppo, una folta folla di giornalisti compiacenti che per tenere sullo stipendio non fanno altro che compiacere questa narrativa.
Поставили все.
They turned everything upside down. And here is now the entire so-called progressive humanity, the entire West, the golden billion, which is ruled by the socialist elites. Usually even the well-educated people forget about it, that these elites are the socialist ones, that they are members of the Socialist International, that the UN has become a socialist organization, that Guterres was the chairman of the Portuguese Socialist Party, and did not quit this party to become the UN Secretary General, and so on and so forth.
Finally, what do we have today is the Socialist International. Either fascism-based, or at least fascism-like global socialism as the worldwide prison for nations.
Sometimes the world has just gone mad. And this is what we're seeing right now.
In the beginning of the 20th century, the whole concept of socialism was seen as the best future of humanity by top intellectuals all over the world. There were three most violent derivatives of socialism that were fighting for the global domination that ended badly in the World War II. The national kind of socialism was defeated and condemned by the Nuremberg trial that put an end to that idea forever. The international socialism, communism, had won the war, but later was also buried with the fall of the Soviet Union because of its ineffective command economy. Unlike the national socialism, neither communism nor fascism was ever condemned by any trial, and the Togliatti amnesty left a back door for return of the fascism. The fascism and its rather effective corporate economy have survived. Failed to establish the worldwide socialism all at once and by means of brutal force and violence and terror, the rascals did it furtively by slowly integrating into the capitalism and gradually, step by step, transforming it into the worldwide socialism. Just have a look at the European Union, a pale copy of the USSR. Both fascist China and fascist Russia are strongly, although informally, integrated into this European Union of the Socialistic Republics, a worldwide prison for nations and free thought. It's not only about saving on production costs and resources, it's about convergency and the worldwide socialism with its core, all the secret services united into the worldwide KGB mafia network that controls everything.
Guys, I myself have worked for them. Not an agent, but a top sales representative in one of the largest IT companies run by the KGB FSB officers, middle rank, my ex-bosses. That's how I know it. However, it's only a drop in the ocean. Both in Russia and in the West, it's always the one and the same worldwide united secret services mafia and enormous business cartel that operates trillions of dollars and controls everything, holding all key positions everywhere, to the greatest detriment of the entire countries and nations. They call it convergency, and it's all about the global socialism of today. And first of all, the convergence of the law enforcement and secret services all around the world.
Everything I earned in IT business, I owe it to the greatest country, United States of America, but also to the business ties of the worldwide KGB FSB mafia. I had it unmasked by publishing a number of videos, but they silenced my YouTube channel. No more views, no more comments except trolls. All sorts of fascists, progressives and other socialists are destroying nations and free thought. It's all about money and also eugenics, to control the entire peoples, breeding them as a obedient population of sheep. The International United Secret Services KGB Mafia is conducting an entire extermination campaign against us. All over the world, those who oppose are being killed or imprisoned under the fabricated cases, slowly poisoned to death, or put to an artificially provocated fatal disease or mental disorder, silenced down in the social media, detached from society, and deprived of any income with no job.